Well, you're very welcome to the Betfred Boxing Show with myself, Dom McGuinness and Anthony Crolla. And Anthony, as ever, we're going to look at the action we've just witnessed. We're going to look forward, and we're going to start at the most important point of all, that Love Island is back. So I know that it's been a big week for you.
It is.
Just talk us through it.
Well, it's been a bit of a slow start. I think Chloe, the new girl who came in last night, sort of ruffled a few feathers. That could get interesting, but fans are already getting a little bit impatient, so we need something to happen and happen very soon.
Did you watch Love Island over the football?
You know what? I didn't.
The two remarkable games.
Unbelievable. That was one of the best days of football. I genuinely didn't. I was inspired by the Switzerland performance to leave Love Island until the day after.
Later on.
So I just had a double episode.
Right, so you can binge on it. That's perfect.
There we go.
There you go. Lovely. Well, more on Love Island later on, but we're going to discuss what has been, apart from Love Island returning, a good week for Crolla and the whole camp, because of course Paul Butler and Jose Burton were back in action, and both had the arm raised. Both
in good fights, good wins. Joe was really happy with them both. Ofer found a great shot to end matters with Liam Conroy, who I think would have come all night. And Paul Butler, when you're talking about opponents who would have come all night, the Mexican who Paul Butler thought, wow. I think Paul picked out a lovely left hook early on, and a few people thought, oh, this could be an early night, but I think Joe was saying to me he was more worried about that than the Agebko fight, obviously a late changing opponent, but oh wow, we come all night, and Paul's head after it, you could have put a glove on the Mexican's head at the time, but he's so tough. And I think one of the judges went the way the Mexicans, I thought was quite a bit out, but the main thing is Paul got his hand raised and he pushes on now to try and fight for a world title.
And after a period of inactivity, to have a late change and you get a Mexican with everything that's gone on.
Well, it's gone on lately, it was no wonder he was worried. I mean, Paul was. Well, Paul did think straight away, he thought this is going to be a harder fight than Agebko, which is saying something with his pedigree, but come through, so I mean, that was a good show actually. But yeah, two good wins for the boys.
Well, we're going to talk Fightzone, but before we do, somebody that featured on Fightzone and produced a shock on Fightzone also produced a shock in Bolton at the weekend, because Brett Fido completely stunned Tyrone McCulloch and stopped him. Now, this is an 85 fight veteran. You know, journeyman is labelled as, away fighter is a better title.
Yes, definitely for Brett.
He always has ambition, and again, I mean, what a story! Back-to-back wins for him now.
Yeah, it was John Harker, wasn't it, in Sheffield?
John Patrick Harker
on his debut, and we said, wow, this is really ambitious. I mean, fair play for him. And anyway, he come up short. There weren't loads in it, but Brett deservedly got the decision. And I think, to be fair, Tyrone McCulloch, and you sometimes can't even with a bag of rice, never mind to get the stoppage. So it was really impressive. And Brett's one of them, I think, now that position that he's in, if someone can get behind him, that phone's going to stop ringing for him to be fighting week in, week out. So it would mean someone getting behind him. Yeah. But I think that all just depends what Brett wants from the game as well. He's happy sort of fighting regular. Like I say,
he's going to want him now.
There we go, that's it, the phone stops ringing. So it's he's going to be out of work for a little bit unless he gets some kind of opportunity.
Yeah, we've seen it in recent history as well with guys that have got like kind of 50-50 records or losing records. Yeah. I think like Peter McDonough, who had a real Indian summer and started, went on a brilliant spree because he was training properly, fighting properly, and he kind of the mentality changed. And if you think of Chelo Rendo some years ago was similar, he was always a nightmare.
Remember, Medjugorje, I think it was, or was it? No, it wasn't him. It was I forget the name. Fella, he actually beat Michael Aldis, who was a very good fighter, and he went on to become world champion. He got brought over as opponent, but there's so many like that, and they just need that direction and that sort of support, and then the training full time, which we said, I think we spoke about it, with a lot of journeyman away fighters who haven't been able to work as much because of the pandemic. So they're a lot fitter, they're a lot more ready for action. They're not just turning up, to see the fight out, pick up a paycheck. They're coming with intentions to win the fight.
Well, Fightzone, which we alluded to before, which has been running since May the 21st, in the Fightzone arena, this bespoke arena in the shadow of the Sheffield arena with the huge canopy and all the marquees around it. It's been brilliant. It's been like a cross, as explained, it's been like a cross between a festival and a beer garden, and it's just been great fun. And everyone, it's the last show at the arena this Friday. But just before we talk a bit more about this card this week, we'll just have a quick look at some of the highlights that we've enjoyed at the Fightzone arena. Well, they were highlights from last week, but there's been some brilliant fights throughout the run. I mean, if you think of Matt Windle, that was a brilliant light flyweight title fight. Neil McCubbin, wasn't it?
Him and Matt Windle and Neil McCubbin, I was speaking highly of it after it, one of the best fights, domestic fights I've seen live ever, not in recent times. It's an unbelievable fight. But yeah, there's been standout performances. We've seen last night with last week, guys, the pro debut of Bill Edney's, the Turkish Tyson. Yeah, that was impressive.
Very impressive.
We'll see. And I think we said at the start of this with the Fightzone thing, are we going to sort of uncover a few gems, and it gives, this journey from the start, hopefully, to the top of the mountain. Well, hopefully we've seen some of those performances.
There's been some great stuff, hasn't there, really? If you think about it as well, like Mark Leach and Thomas Assomba was technically excellent. It wasn't like all the guts and thunder and all the rest of it. It was a technically great fight. But there's been so many. Cash Ali coming back and a stoppage for him in a European title fight. But there's been again
comebacks.
James Moorcroft, who was in the wind and the rain, and he put on a great show.
Yes,
he did really well.
He boxed well. I've had Jake out as well on it. It was a bit different weather. Circumstances, but no, there's been some fantastic performances. I think last week out, the lad who beat Irving from Sheffield, really impressed with him on the Glen Roads. His lad Sharp, Southpaw, very good.
Keenan Wainwright.
There it is, Wainwright, very good. I think, like I say, there's been some fantastic performances.
There has. It's been great as well. I mean, the sun was shining. It was just absolutely fantastic, wasn't it? Everybody enjoying it. So it's the last one of the Fightzone Arena this Friday, and there's a great card again. JP Harker, that we mentioned before, who had a very tricky debut against Brett Fido, he's out again.
He's there.
Nice quick turnaround for him, so he can't dwell on that too much. He's got to get out. Zach Miller from Manchester, that you'll know well. He's out again. He's a character.
Yeah, he is. Good guy, Zach.
Hannah Bagley, who I know you know through sparring Rhiannon, your fighter.
Yes, we did a last spar with her. And she looks really well. She's improved an awful lot. She comes off the white collar scene, but she's been working hard, and she's got a professional debut. She can't wait for that. Again, the women's game, I think week in, week out, we've been seeing it, and it's good. That's a nice addition. And there's some other, like Big Jack Massa. Obviously, we're going to get onto that. He's been down at the gym, him and Jose Burton have some good rounds.
I bet they do, yeah. I mean, obviously, the big cruiserweight's a European title fight as well. There's also the likes of Josh Holmes, Dan Catlin,
talented, very
Rhys
talented.
Edwards from Wales, who's a real talent, and Ian Martell, who's another really exciting
we've seen him early on, haven't we?
Division.
Yeah, we have. I'm looking forward to that. You say, I know from a local point of view, Rob Rimmer is doing a fantastic job. He's got two lads on in Josh Holmes, who I like a lot, and Jack Massey, he's going to be looking to, I know he's in a title fight, he's going to be really looking to push on now for a domestic title. He come very close with Richard Riakpo. They thought that they could have done enough. He's going to be looking to go down that avenue. Yeah,
you're going to miss the arena?
I am going to miss the arena.
I know you're there on Friday, but
I'm
it's
there
been brilliant,
for the farewell. Yeah, it's like you said, the beer garden. I'm gonna say like Caesar's Palace car park at time. In Sheffield. But no, it's been good. It's been good.
Well, crossing from Sheffield across the pond, the weekend that we just witnessed was fantastic for so many fighters. But I think the standout performance, you got to say, was your old mate and your old foe, Vasyl Lomachenko, who was absolutely brilliant, and again back in there, as Gervonta Davis as well.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I think Lomachenko, I said I was very confident he was going to go out there and make a statement, and he did against Nakatani. He was a very good fighter. He's coming off a career best win against Felix Verdejo. He looked very good. There was no sign of any injury or anything like that, and now they made it pretty clear after it, and Teofimo Lopez, the father, he was there, saying it's got a weapon next after Kambosos. He comes through that, and that's a fight I'd love to see. And I think Lomachenko, for some reason, not like he had to, or anyone sort of, I think he half knows, but reminded people who were talking Four Kings that he's very much around.
Yeah, I mean, Davis obviously stepping up and now calling himself a three-weight world champion. I wouldn't go that far. There's no way he can do that. Josh Taylor's got those belts, and that's that. That's
it. And it's not being disrespectful. He's not a three-weight world champion, and I think if you're saying he's a three-weight world champion, it's probably a bit disrespectful and a bit stupid, really. You're confusing people, but there's no denying. I think the thing with Davis is just an unbelievable puncher. I think everyone in boxing circles says how hard he hits, and you can see it, and he's shown it again to carry the power up a weight. I think the worry for me is sort of after it, and there's no denying Floyd Mayweather's an unbelievable businessman. but he's talking how we don't want to make other fighters. We're not here to make other fighters great, and we'll be keeping it in the Mayweather family, the PBC.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then maybe your legacy is going to be affected, because I think. It's what I mean. I don't know. He's not a freeweight world champion, but if he was to say that, he's got to be really high up on the pound for pound list, and I think potentially he is, and potentially he could possibly be a genuine freeweight world champion. But we can't. If he's only going to fights from certain networks, and you've been very vocal about that could hinder that in how he goes down. I'm not denying it will stop him earning an absolute fortune. And listen, is he good to watch? Yeah. He's great to watch him because you always know he's got that one shot to end matters.
Yeah, the thing is, that would be beyond frustrating, wouldn't it? If everyone starts fighting within their own.
I think there was an interview that done the rounds, and I like Leonard Elvey and a lot of what he says. However, he become under a lot of criticism for saying, you got to bring something to the dance about Josh Taylor, and it's like. You've got every belt at that weight, every genuine belt at that weight. What more do you want me to bring to the dance? And it's not just like Josh is a big draw. Like, bring him now, Edinburgh Castle. I'm sure it'd sell out. Headlined at the O2. Wherever he headlined it, it's not like he's someone who can't sell tickets. He packs out arenas. So I think that was probably a little bit sort of like maybe Leonard
Elvey it's a lot of nonsense anyway.
Clever man, but he's not done his homework there.
I mean, all the US fighters want to fight in the UK because of the crowd.
The crowd. Listen, you're telling me.
It's all games.
Gervonta Davis has been over before when he beat Liam Walsh, so he's not like he's scared of travelling whatsoever. But I think you're telling me Josh Taylor at a football ground or Edinburgh Castle wouldn't sell out. Nah, I don't think I'm going to be having that.
I'm sure they know that. But of course, you mentioned the dance before. You mentioned Lomachenko, and of course, you've been in the ring with him. But his return was pretty eye-catching. And again, because of that, our producer Josh, as he likes to do, he gets his contacts book out, and he's chasing people all over Europe, and he's hounding them, and eventually he caught up with Alexander Krassyuk, and he didn't just ask him about Loma. He's gone through the whole, just about everything to do with Ukraine and boxing and football and everything else. So his producer Josh with a very special, and you'll know why, chat with Alexander.
Joined here by Alexander Krassyuk, the promoter of Oleksandr Usyk. First of all, though, before we get on to Usyk, I want to speak to you about another Ukrainian, Lomachenko, who was in action last weekend. What did you make of Lomachenko's fight, first of all?
Wow, that was an amazing performance. Absolutely amazing. It looked like two boxers in the ring were from different dimensions. Because the normal dimension was the Japanese, but a guy from an alien, from I don't know, from outer space, arrived to the earth and performed in the ring that night. His speed, his skills, his determination, his focus was so strong that he didn't leave a single chance to a guy. So he defeated him in every second.
No, definitely. And of course, Lomachenko lost to Teofimo Lopez the previous fight. On the back of that fight on last weekend, Lomachenko, he wants that rematch. Do you think we will see that rematch? And do you think Lomachenko gets his revenge?
Lopez's father was circling around the ring, giving his applause to the winner, and claiming that there's no other way rather than having the rematch. So I heard it myself like 4 or 5 times, him saying that the rematch after we go through Cambosos, we're gonna have the revenge. But the first thing that he mentioned is something that need to be under serious consideration. I mean, Cambosos fight, because that's not an easy walk. That's something that might change the plans of the whole division.
No, definitely. And in terms of the man you promote, Oleksandr Usyk, Eddie Hearn has announced the 25th of September, the fight against Anthony Joshua is on. What can you tell us from your side of things? Is it on, and where will it be?
Yes, everything Eddie mentioned is about to be announced officially, because we are now finalizing the paperwork and hopefully within the end of this week we will complete everything and sign, and we'll go officially. So the fight, the date, 25th of September, is the most likely date, and the place, the Tottenham Stadium, is the most likely place for this fight to take place.
Oh, fantastic news. And it's a fight that I think a lot of fight fans are looking forward to. In terms of Usyk, how have his preparations been going?
I spoke to him yesterday a couple times. He's looking good. He's very determined. He's very focused. He worked so hard within the last 2 months, training his conditioning and like making himself a real heavyweight, which he is now. And he's willing to start the official preparation. I think it's gonna happen within next couple weeks. So he will set up his training camp and will start the hard work for Joshua.
And will the whole training camp be based over there in the Ukraine, or will when will you guys travel over to England?
No, there's no need to travel to England because the time difference is not really big, and the climate difference is not that strong. So it doesn't make any sense to travel to England because he's got everything he needs here in Kiev in Ukraine.
And in terms of the fight itself, how do you see the fight going? Do you think it's one that we could see go the distance, and is this going to be Usyk's toughest fight to date?
It looks like it's going to be the toughest fight for Usyk, but you never know what might happen, because Usyk has his advantage in his skills, in his determination, and in in his experience. He's much more experienced fighter than AJ. I mean, his amateur career. So my perception is that this fight might go the whole distance or might finish within it. I'm not a big expert in forecasts. The only thing I can say is that when Usyk enters the ring, that will be the toughest Usyk we could ever see.
No, definitely. And it's got a nice little subplot as well. I know the Tokyo Olympics, it was obviously supposed to be last year, but is now happening this year. And of course, Anthony Joshua and Usyk were both victorious at the London 2012 games. So for them to both be fighting for the heavyweight world titles in the year that we've got the Tokyo Olympics, it's a nice little subplot that as well.
That's something that brings the meaning of Olympic Games for professionals to the highest possible level, because two Olympic champions gonna fight for the unified championship in heavyweight in professional boxing, and after some guys who are still amateurs would by that time probably become the Olympic champions. They would be looking at that fight and making their plans for the future.
No, definitely. And of course, hopefully from your side of things, Usyk is a new world champion, and that's being said on that the 25th of September and the new. But before then, we've got another big heavyweight fight over in Las Vegas, Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 3. How do you see that one going
Wow. I can't say too many things about the third fight because, you know what? First fight showed that Fury could be different. He could be playful, he could be skilled, he could be flexible, but sometimes he can lose the focus and get knocked down, almost knocked out. But he has huge heart. So he will definitely find fight power to go through the fight. But the man who has power in his gloves is his opponent. I just remind maybe 2 or 3 fights of Deontay Wilder, who would be losing on points, but would finish the fight in round 8, 9, 10 with just one hit, just one punch, and the fight is done. So if it goes throughout the distance, Fury has to be really cautious. I cannot give you the prediction because I might say it's a 50-50 fight.
No, definitely. But whoever wins that, the fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, if Usyk is victorious against Anthony Joshua, will Usyk be wanting to fight the winner out of Fury and Wilder?
We have a rematch clause for Joshua.
Mm. And where will that be in the UK again, or could that be elsewhere, the rematch then?
It might be elsewhere, but Joshua wanted it to happen. I mean, he wanted Usyk to beat him twice in a row, so we couldn't stand it.
And talk about Usyk beating Joshua twice. That's of course Ukraine versus England. We've got Ukraine versus England a bit sooner. What did you first of all make of the Ukraine performance against Sweden last night, Alexander?
Wow, that was a thrilling stuff, 120 minutes of an action. I'm not a big expert in soccer, but it's probably the second game I've watched within the last 5 years. The first one was when Ukraine lost to Austria, and I said, "Listen, why did I watch this? There was no game, there was no play, nothing interesting happened." But after that, after the Sweden won and gave a chance for Ukraine to continue and became the opponent for Ukraine, it looked very likely that Ukrainian national team has to say thank you, but to win. That's what they did.
No, definitely. And what do you make of the game against England in Rome this Saturday? Do you think Ukraine could do it?
According to my experience, Ukraine do anything. They are always an underdog everywhere. But there's always a huge chance because after such a huge victory, I think the inspiration that Andriy Shevchenko gives to the team, that would be the determining factor. So the guys have a chance. And by the way, England is probably one of the youngest team in the whole championship. Ukraine is also very young. So that's going to be an interesting, extremely interesting match between two teams that gonna perform their best performance.
No, definitely. And is Usyk a big football fan? Is he into the football?
Yes, he used to play football with the guys from the team. He knows most of them in person.
So does he know Andriy Shevchenko?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And is he going to be wishing the team good luck? Is he spoken to any of the team since last night? And is he going to speak to any of the team or Andre ahead of the game against England to wish them luck?
I have no idea whether he spoke, but I texted after Ukraine was victorious. I texted to Eddie and said, "Listen, man, we can't lose this chance for promoting our fight when Ukraine gonna match with England in Rome." So he said, "Definitely yes. Let's sign the contract until the end of Friday, and let's make it happen."
Oh, definitely. Well, looking forward to the little bit of rivalry we're going to be having between the two countries on the football pitch and in the boxing ring, and it's going to be an interesting watch for the football and for the boxing.
All right, absolutely. Regarding boxing, I can say the best thing is to wish that the best man wins, and then we're going to have the rematch.
Well, there you go, Alexander. And first things first, when you look at that fella, he's driving around the streets of Kiev. He's given a perfectly good interview. It's like, was he juggling as well at the same time? I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised knowing some of the tricks from that camp. But yeah, very cool guy. Listen, knows his boxing, and is part of an amazing team.
Yeah, Usyk made the best man win with a little wink about Joshua. But that's quite interesting. The fact that it's 25th of September at the Tottenham Stadium, whereas Eddie Hearn has been saying, well, if we've got a full house, yes, it's during the football season, we've got to open everything up. If it's not going to be open, it can't happen. But it seems like that is pretty much a done deal, like listening to Alexander.
Yeah, it seems it like what we're talking about, sort of how Anthony Joshua was talking about the fight next. You'd be very surprised if it doesn't happen. And like I said, they're super keen for the fight. And obviously Eddie has a part of, promotionally as well, I think. So it's a great fight. It's a great fight. I've said it time and time again. Respect for Anthony Joshua for pursuing this fight after the Tyson Fury fell one through. It's certainly a potential banana skin, and one of the best fights that can be made in the heavyweight division without a doubt.
Have you been to that stadium yet?
I've not. I was going to go. I think it was just before the pandemic. United Tottenham away. I'm almost sure, but I bet it's great. But I have seen they do a fantastic pint. It comes up. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, it's one of those machines they bang it on.
I'll have to. I mean, I don't know if your hardcore would approve of that. They want a pint poured proper, don't they? But I'd love to give it a go.
Yeah, so much interesting stuff in that as well. Obviously Lopez and everything else, but the football, because of course England face off with Ukraine.
Yes.
Although, did England win the World Cup and everything else besides the other night? It was kind of again, it's expectations, isn't it? And Ukraine will use that,
Yeah, of course.
They're going to look at that and think, hang on a minute, they've won already.
I probably one of them, but everyone thinks typical England to perform like they did against Germany and then end up losing in extra time or something to Ukraine, who obviously last gasp, wasn't it, against Sweden for them. But listen, there's no denying it's a huge game for England, but huge game for Ukraine. But I mean, it's a game that they're expected to win, the England boys. You'd think now there's a great chance of getting to the final. You probably wouldn't have a better chance on paper, but listen, the Ukraine performed, there's one, but then the Czech and Denmark is the other one. Listen, some of the performances they pulled out, you don't know.
I think if they've got any sense, they'll get Vitaly and Vlad and Usyk and Loma all on the blower to those lads and try and
fire them up.
Yeah, exactly.
Fire them up. Get Papachenko to come up with the game plan. If so, Gareth could be in trouble, but hopefully not. And the boys march on.
Yeah. Well, another development this week was the lineup was announced for DAZN. Now, I mean, I know DAZN's been a talking point for a while now, of course, because it was a kind of secret that wasn't out there about the split in Sky and everything else. And now Eddie has been the main man, obviously, with the Matchroom DAZN publicity and the lineup. I suppose, where was your call? Were you out?
Do you know what? Sometimes where I am, the signal's not the best.
Is that right?
I think
you and Eddie, you like that, and I'm just trying to work out what.
No, it's some lineup, isn't it? It's some lineup. It's from obviously the boxing point of view. I think Darren Barker, Chris Light, they've been great together for a great double act, and then obviously Tony Bellew. He was on Sky an awful lot. Real sort of studies the game, loves it, and Andy Lee's so respected in boxing, and I think as a pundit as well, as a pundit commentator, to a man who's been around Emmanuel Stewart for so long, you can't help but some of that gold does swingle off from him, and that's the way it seems. And then obviously the big talking point, a change in, I think Laura Wood, I think she's fantastic. Laura Wood, she does a great job on the darts, so I think that surprised people, but I think she'd be brilliant. I think the biggest surprise, no doubt, and I think this is one that then reaches out to, probably brings new fans in, is obviously Maya Jama. I'm not sure how much, if she's been a boxing fan in the past or not, but it's it's a fresh air to boxing, and it's certainly going to get more views. There's no lying.
Well, she's got a large following, hasn't she? And
she has. It's a huge social media. That's what I'm saying about a crossover.
Yeah.
So it's going to bring a few people over. To see the stuff she does with Peter Crouch and stuff like that. People tune in, listen, there's no denying they tune in because of her. So if she can do that to boxing, bring new fans to it. We talk about YouTubers, social media followings and stuff like that. It is a big part in all businesses in the world now.
Well, Eddie's not been shy and embracing a bit of that, as we know, in terms of promoting YouTubers and all the rest of it. So he sees the sense in clearly saying, well, that's the way of the world, and you've got to adapt. You've got to adapt and move.
And that's
it's a very new thing, DAZN, and streaming's very new in terms of what they're trying to do. So he's trying to. You can see the sense in what he's trying to do there.
Of course, definitely as a personality for sure, without a doubt.
they are going to have to be a bit thick-skinned because the social media warriors, they're going to give them some
of course,
you know, it's going to, you know, we know what's coming, don't we,
There was tweets getting dug up on Maya Jama herself and stuff like that, but I'm sure, listen, before an Anthony Joshua fight, however many years ago, she wasn't expecting to be the face of that promotion in the broadcasting and what that promotion will be using, but yeah, there's always is going to be. I mean, even mate Tony Bellew, he's getting all sorts and stuff like that. But he's always been around boxing. There's always people. I think for a lot of people, which we didn't mention then, wrong of me, Mike Costello.
Well, I wasn't going to get. I wasn't going to not mention Mike, but because we're coming to that.
Unbelievable, and he's one of the most respected. I don't know whether you would say one of the commentators, not just in boxing, in sports. So to have him is probably the biggest scoop. From a boxing fan's point of view, having Mike Costello on board is absolutely huge.
Yeah, well, it is. And the thing is with the presenters, they're presenters. Now, you've got the experts. Now, the presenters, Laura and Maya, would say they're not boxing experts. Of course, but they're presenters. That, you know, you have got experts in the shape of Mike Costello.
Of course you have,
and Andy Lee. And they're going to be the commentary team. They're going to be the main commentary duo because they've worked together on 5 Live quite a bit.
And you think, you saw how good they've worked together before, how can that possibly not work? That's
it's different for TV from radio, which Mike has already said. But I mean, he is such a fountain of knowledge, and he's lived it all his life. And in terms of as a boxer himself, as a coach himself at Lynn, ABC's amateur club, and then obviously all through his working life. So and as you say, all the aficionados are all delighted that Mike's done that now. And he's been at the BBC forever.
He has. He's certainly said his dues. And I seen an interview where he said it would take something special for him to leave, and that's what he believes this is. He sees it as a big adventure, which we've always said there's uncertainty about it, but it's got the potential to be huge in the way the world's moving.
The thing is as well, which would have been a frustration for him, and now he knows he's got so many fights a year to commentate on. Big fights.
Yes.
Whereas in the past with radio rights, you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't exactly
know
how many you're going to get. You might be missing out on the big fights.
It's very much deserved.
See the sense in all of that. Okay, Anthony, that's pretty much it. So
it is for this week.
Again, I feel that we should move away from the boxing again because I'm not sure it's what you really want to talk about. And we only touched upon it at the start with Love Island, but before we get to that, what's happening then this week? I know you're in Sheffield.
Yes, I'm in Sheffield Friday night for the last one in Sheffield. In the gym, I think I said it a few times, waiting for a date for the girl, training Rhiannon Dixon. Yeah. Obviously with Joe, them 2 fighters. Coming off good wins, but everyone's in and we're just waiting. Now. I think shows are slowly coming back, hopefully. But no, all good. What else? The amateurs after here. I'm going to get in with the amateurs, and that's it. Yeah. So life's good right now, other than what happened with the gym the other week. Yeah. Any developments on that? You getting the marquee sorted out for the kids? Yes, we're hoping to have some news in the next few days to have them back. We're using one of our friends' gyms temporarily. So we're very thankful for that, but it'd be great to have the base back there. So it's the football, Love Island, and boxing. What more could you ask for?
Well, again, before Love Island, it's June the 30th today. It is Mike Tyson's birthday.
Yes.
And again, he's, I suppose in modern times, he's probably the most talked about fighter that has been in the last 50 years.
One of
Sugar Ray Leonard,
the most recognisable faces
in terms of the global reach of him
in the world.
The global reach, and I'm not going like obviously Ali and all the rest of it. We're talking about in modern times, he's
without a doubt,
phenomenon, isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of the most recognisable faces. Would it be out of thing to say sport in history? I don't think it would be.
No.
He's that big.
Youngest ever heavyweight
champion. Do you know what
champion.
I mean? Youngest heavyweight champion. Obviously, the controversy that surrounded him, the excitement that surrounded him as well. I've never been lucky enough to meet Mike Tyson. Hopefully one day I will do. One for the scrapbook. I think you have.
I'm not sure. I shoved the microphone in his face.
You met him.
Is that but I didn't actually get around to interviewing him because the producer cut me short and said the ring walks were about to happen. It was at Fury Wilder 2 in Las Vegas last year, and I was about to doorstep him. I didn't know how it was going to go. I've got to say, it could have gone either way.
It could have gone, but that probably added to the.
I got eye contact with him, and I thought, I'm in here.
You met him, Dom. You met him.
Is that right?
Yeah,
well, we're best mates then.
I'm not saying you went to his house or like hangover style or anything like that, but yeah, you've met him. Yeah, mates,
friends,
acquaintances.
Friends. Okay, so Love Island. What happens this weekend?
It's a big one, obviously. Everyone was left on a bit of a cliffhanger last night on Chloe's decision, what lad she was going to pick. That's going to ruffle some feathers. I think we will see some new additions into the villa. because,
No
like you
boxes
say,
this
the
time, is
first. I don't think we have any boxes this time. Obviously, in the past we've had
Tommy Fury.
We had Idris Virgo.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anyone. Sure. Jack Fincham.
Right.
He's now going to have his pro debut. I like Jack a lot. So yeah, there is
there's a bit
a past to be boxing. So you won't be surprised if someone pops up.
Again? No, you're not getting involved in that, are you? Surely you're just the biggest fan, number one fan.
Yeah, just a fan.
Okay, doke. So it is the last Fight Zone at the Fight Zone Arena this Friday night. But again, we'll bring you all the action, all the highlights from that. And again, as it just keeps coming again, there's going to be more fight cards obviously announced as we're going along. It's going to be a busy summer, I think, once Dazn gets going as well over here. So that's it for now, though, Anthony. So
it is.
You can enjoy the sunshine and the Euros.
We will. We'll look forward to it. We'll be back next week.
And with that, thank you very much indeed. This is the Betfred Boxing Show.